24 KEIRUS. I'm Kelly Johnson, the founder of KEIRUS by KJE. I'm joined by my awesome leadership team, Devin and Annalise. The last time we talked about what is culture transformation. We're going to continue that conversation today. So at KEIRUS, we believe that a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion requires a 24/7 commitment, 24/7 effort, 24/7 investment, and we really want to focus right now, give you a little behind the scenes look at how all the magic happens and what it means to transform cultures the KEIRUS way. So with that, let's talk a little bit more. Let's dive deeper into your world, Annalise, because you're the culture transformation leader. You head up all of our client engagements. You are in the trenches with your team to really get in there and do all of this magic that we're talking about. So from your experience, I know you've spent, almost 20 years in human resources, but what do you think it takes to really transform a corporate culture?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's not just one thing, like just anything big that you're trying to do or impact an organization. It takes a lot. And I think what I'm excited about with KEIRUS and joining this firm and what sets us apart from maybe others that are doing similar work is we try to embed different components. What's most important to a leader in an organization? Well, data, metrics, getting to the bottom line in order to reach the goal, right? And so we encompass that in our process by having what we call a culture assessment, which I feel is unique as I'm, studying the different services that the space offers, is we actually use data, right? We use data to help shape our recommendations and what will help organizations. The other piece of what sets us apart is the intimacy of getting to know our clients, right? It's not just about, here is our vanilla cookie, whatever the terminology is, off the shelf product or service. Yes, we will have that. Yes, we will have our standard services and templates and things for efficiency's sake. But really what sets us apart is trying to really be the client, right? Be in their environment, understand what their employees are going through. So we do things like focus groups, listening sessions, multiple different groups so that we get all voices, we get all different perspectives. You combine that with data, you combine that with all of the feedback that we receive and other data points, and then you come to an intimate recommendation for that particular client. I think in the previous session we talked about clients are at different stages, right? And some that are like, oh, we need this, or they think they need this, but after doing listening and looking at data, not quite ready to do that yet, but here's a step to get you closer to that, right? And that's what I believe sets us apart, which will help our clients and teams that we work with get to that culture transformation, is recognizing where they are and then providing them the steps in order to get there in their journey.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you highlighted the intimacy piece, the data. What would you add to that? I feel like you have something.
I mean, I was thinking that as well. I say data is the foundation.
Yes.
So I think for us, we really try to, or we do, provide a holistic approach with organizations that allow us to. So being able to really understand where the organization is, where employees are, how they are feeling, that really helps us create and develop a solid strategy that will help the organization really, I guess, kick off on the right foot, so to speak. And they can really look back and say, hey, this is where we started. We can measure that. We can, assess again and say, hey, this is how far we've come. So I'm very partial to the data piece, of course, but also providing the training experiences, the learning experiences where employees, senior leaders can come together, have discussions about whether there's diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism, if we're there. We can have those psychologically safe conversations so that we can all deepen our knowledge, become more aware and more knowledgeable about how to not only be more equitable in the work, but also lead our teams better, right? And be better managers, better leaders for our teams.
And quite frankly, the workplace is evolving and changing. I mean, I think the pandemic was a big part of that. We had to, do a lot of things virtually, and probably learned a lot of good practices and bad practices as a result of that. But engaging back to getting people face to face and engagement and things like that is a hot topic right now. In the market. You'll hear the terms of people just making moves and not really wanting to put up with situations that maybe in the past they would have put up with. So equally important now is the work that we do today in this space.
Yeah. So what I feel like y'all are saying is that we're not for everybody.
No. Definitely not. Because I guess we get all up in your business, so to speak. So you have to be open. You have to be ready for that, because we're asking the questions. We're interviewing executive teams. We're interviewing your people, because we want to know as much as we can so that we can help you as much as we can. So the more we know, the better we're able to serve.
Yeah. It's like, help us help you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that it requires a certain level of commitment and access. The willingness to be vulnerable, right? Vulnerable with your data.
Yes.
A part of it, right? And know that we're caretakers of your journey. It's like, if you go to the doctor, they've seen it all, right? So our little bumps and bruises are not new to a doctor. And I would say an organization's bumps and bruises are not new to us. And we're here really thinking or trying to act in the best benefit of our client. We have your best interests at heart in everything we do. It's not even really our agenda. This is our client's agenda. How can we help them? How can we enable them achieving what they want to achieve? And I think the intimacy piece that you talked about, like I envision that as, we really try to sit in the shoes of every employee, of every people leader, of every executive, and we wear those hats at different times, and we try to think about their experiences and their challenges, their frustrations. We even try to think about the person who is not bought into diversity and inclusion, the person who feels like, if we do diversity and inclusion, that means I'm losing. And so we literally think about that person, because their perspective and their voice, their concerns, they matter just like everyone else's. So anything else on culture transformation? I feel like we kind of that ended up being a longer rabbit hole than I think I was envisioning, but it's so important. And I would also add to the fact that diversity and inclusion has become popular. The other piece that I think our clients really appreciate about us is that we have experience, decades of experience, really creating the transformation in organizations of all sizes and industries. I like to say we're not new to this. We're true to it. And we know what it takes to transform, to change positively an organization, and do that from a place of measurement, data, but also maintaining that balance of the heart and really caring for the people inside the organization.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about something that we have encountered, which is the mindset. We say head, heart, hands. That head can get in the way, and we've done sessions where we talk about the powerful mindset and a limited mindset. Let's talk about what does it take to help people have more of a growth mindset, or what we like to call as a powerful mindset when it comes to diversity and inclusion, and why is that important? Like, why do we need to even really focus on the mindset?
So I'll start by, I think the most impactful level that you can do when trying to impact change and changing mindset starts from your senior leaders, right? Your top leaders. And, in my experience, having supported several organizations, you'll have some that get it, right? Gets it right away, knows that this is an important initiative, full out support, all of that. You'll get some that gets it, but it's like, well, do I really have time? Do I really have the budget to do that? And then you'll just get some that are very resistant, like, why do I need that? Like, I just need you to do X, Y, Z so we can meet our goal. and all of that. So in that spectrum, what I've found is the ones that don't have the heart yet, they probably have it in their head, but it's more of a tick this off my leadership box type of activity. And those are typically the ones that I've had more challenging partnerships with as the kind of right hand HR person to that senior business leader. And it takes time, because how I ended up strategizing my way through that relationship is I really had to get to know the person to understand, well, why is it that he or she behaves in this way? And until I invested that time in one-on-ones and just asking questions and not just all about business, understanding the person for who they are broke the ice, right? I remember this recent, very tough, on the facade, very tough leader, very matter of fact, had that reputation. But once we got to, had some lunches offsite and things like that, and got to know and built that relationship and trust, it was, I wouldn't say easier, but it was better working relationship-wise and influencing-wise when it came to these types of initiatives with that leader, right? So I think that mindset question, Kelly, is all about still, the approach and how we get to the person's heart by really establishing that trust and relationship up front. Because if we try to do that and tops down and that trickles down, I mean, that just is a domino effect of change and culture and all of that.
Yes, I got to fist bump you on that one. Yes, I think trust, like, we've said it without saying the word up until this point, and it's so critical. But what would you add to that?
Yeah, I completely agree. Relationship building, because trying to change someone's mindset without a level of relationship, it's pretty much impossible, really, because the trust isn't there. But in terms of the limited versus the powerful, really trying to get people that are maybe in the limited space, how do we get them to the powerful mindset? Yes. How do we get them to see that there is abundance? All of us can be successful. All of us can be promoted, and all these things within the organization. And that takes it takes communication, and it takes communicating to them where they are in that moment, right? So if they do have a limited mindset, how are we helping them to understand little by little how to get to that powerful mindset, right? And how to get to see that, oh, well, if, this person is promoted, that doesn't mean that I can't be promoted, or that doesn't mean that there's not another opportunity for me. So I think that it takes the communication maybe on the individual level or the leader to the team member, but then it also takes the organization creating the avenues, the spaces, programs, leadership development programs, and things like that, so that employees can see that there is abundance and that everyone can be promoted, everyone can be successful, everyone can present at Ops Forum and things like that. So the structural, the infrastructure within the organization is important, but also the communication, the relationship amongst employees as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up leadership development and like promotions, because I think people tend to see promotional opportunities, career growth as very finite. There are X number of director or VP positions in my organization, and therefore, to your point, if someone else gets it, that's one less opportunity. My promotional chances just went down 20% because someone else, and then they often blame the company, saying, oh, they want to have a diverse person, a female or a person of color, to sort of hit a goal. And I think when we've worked with leaders, in particular people of color, who often feel like there are very few opportunities to grow in an organization, I think even there that powerful mindset and limited mindset can really come into play, because if you're so focused on what the organization will do in terms of your career growth and progression, to the point where you're limiting your time and effort on growing yourself as an individual leader, and how the type of impact that you're making, I see that as a part of that limited mindset equation, because there's a focus on this sort of external opportunity, getting promoted or rising in the organization, to the detriment of really losing the opportunity to focus on how can I make an impact where I am right now. So I think we are at time. That was our signaling cue that we need to wrap things up. It's been great. I know we're going to come back and continue the conversation about culture transformation. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of 24 KEIRUS, where we are committed to helping you focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion 24/7.